Welcome to the Halo Effect, hospitality stories with Ashleigh and Michael Donald. Hospitality isn't just our profession, it's our passion. With decades of experience and countless stories to share, we've navigated the highs and lows of this dynamic industry, not just as professionals, but as a husband and wife team tackling the challenges of business and life together. This podcast is your invitation to step behind the curtain of the hospitality world. We'll share real experiences, lessons learned, and the moments that have shaped our journey, offering inspiration and insights for anyone walking a similar path. Whether you're just starting out or have years under your belt, we're here to remind you that every challenge is an opportunity and every story has the power to inspire. Welcome to the Halo Effect, hospitality stories with Ashleigh and Michael Donald. Today we are going to be talking about some travel trends for 2025, and in particular we're going to have a little look at Hilton's trend report that they've done when they talk about the year of the Travel Maximiser. Ashleigh, are you looking forward to potentially our first episode of 2025?
Yeah, absolutely. Love this time of year. All the sort of key insights and predictions and outlooks for the year ahead. So there's always some really great trends and great phrases to
The phrases are amazing this year. I mean, Travel Maximiser is a good start.
Definitely.
To be fair.
But yeah, no, it's a great time. And I think, as everyone's sort of back to work and setting goals, objectives, and just really looking for the year ahead. And I think, it's always interesting when we look at these trends. There's, often new trends, but actually there's a lot of continuation of key trends that we might have seen, particularly as we've come out of COVID, that are continuing to gain momentum. So
it's true. There's not a huge change. A lot of these things we've kind of seen versions of before. Yeah, they've been maybe slightly remarketed to suit, but we're definitely seeing how things are becoming more important to well, basically it starts with the customer, doesn't it? It starts with the guest, starts with the customer, and then the hotels and travel industry will adapt to it. One of the main ones that Hilton talks about in their trends report is the Travel Maximiser. Now, Jess Petit, and he is the Senior Vice President of Commercial Strategy at Hilton, but he's also the Acting Chief Trends Officer, which is a title I absolutely love. I think that's incredible. But he defines travel maximizers as individuals who seek to elevate their travel experiences in meaningful ways. What does that mean to you, Ash?
I think meaningful as an experience is jumping out. And I think we, have seen an ongoing and evolving trend towards people really seeking out something that resonates with their values, and that they want to either feel better than when they check out, when they arrive, they want to experience something new, they want to feel enriched, they want to have an authentic experience. And I think, as more, of our disposable income continues to be squeezed with inflationary pressures, that disposable income that we ring fence for travel, we really want to ensure that we get the best from it, whether that is, that new experience, or I think it's gone beyond the bragging rights on Instagram, for example, where there's this travel just to create content. I think it's really great to see actually we've in many ways moved beyond that, and it's actually about really sort of a personal journey and enrichment aligned with your own values.
Yeah, I think adventure is the one that's kind of really come through in Hilton's description of travel maximization. So they say 1 in 4 travelers will be planning an outdoor adventure in 2025. So really looking for unique and immersive experiences. Whether that's hiking, kayaking, camping. Camping is one that I guess, are we travel maximizers? I guess we are. We try to make the most of it, don't we?
Camping.
Yeah. But then balancing that with the sort of personalised relaxation as well, and I guess that's different for everyone. Whatever their relaxation, recharge, and indulge is often a way for people to relax. But the personalisation alongside that adventure, I think, is going to be really, really crucial. And hoteliers can do a lot to really kind of combine the offers that really combine the two of those together. And I think certainly when we're making trips, we really like to customize our experiences, because we are not fans of the sort of the all-inclusive as our own family. We're not huge fans of a sort of all-inclusive experience at this stage in our I suppose lives, but that absolutely could be changing in the near future, I'm sure. But we love to kind of go on a bit of an adventure, but it's a lot of work to plan these things.
It really is, yeah.
We've started using ChatGPT to kind of come up with a few ideas.
Yeah.
But 100%, if hoteliers and travel companies can come up with really interesting offers and packages that combine those together, like that sense of adventure alongside the more relaxing element of things, because how many holidays have you been on and you needed a holiday after the holiday to just relax?
Yeah, exactly. So I think a bit of both, and I think, you know, with a lot of these kind of outdoor adventures, that connection with nature and that sort of grounding with you know, all of the sort of well-being aspects that we know that nature provides in our everyday lives. So I think having access to nature, exploration. It's really interesting. I've been reading a little bit about cold holidays being much more. I think the search term for cold destination holidays has grown massively, because people want to do stuff on their holiday, and you know, particularly we've had extremely warm summers of late, and actually I think that, whilst it can be obviously quite uncomfortable when it's so hot, depending on what you're doing, but I think for those that want to be a little bit more active, actually going to a sort of colder destination, not only is it potentially more comfortable from a temperature perspective, but you can actually get out and do things. And I think, you know, thinking about our own holiday, we went away in August into southern Europe, which we wouldn't normally go away at that point, and we had a fantastic time, but it was so hot, and it did I would say limit the ability to do certain things, certainly at different times of the day anyway.
Like walk in the middle of the day
and eat.
Yeah, and I suppose there's no limit on a cold holiday. There's no limit on how many clothes you can wear at once. You know, we can all be like Joey Tribbiani on holidays and staying warm, can't we? You mentioned wellness as well, and just slightly off the Hilton trends. I know that boutique hotelier, nearly every recommendation from their insights, which they basically went to a number of leaders, hospitality leaders, to look at their insights for 2025, and they were almost all of them talking about wellness, and there's no doubt that people want to look after themselves, no matter what you see in the news and whatever else is going on. There's no doubt that you need to look after yourself and put yourself in the best mental and physical and I think, well-being. Yeah,
and with wellness, I mean, it's so broad, and it's so multifaceted that, you know, I suppose we've seen the evolution of, you know, maybe the hotel spa and gym to really tapping into everything from, you know, mindfulness and creativity, and working with maybe local partners to bring them in to, again, have that real authentic sense of place that you can tap into certain well-being you know, experiences delivered through partnerships, which is then, you know, ultimately helping to support the wider community and local area as well. So I again, you know, the whole wellness element, I'm sure we could dedicate a whole season on that, but I do think it's very interesting how the we're just much more aware, aren't we, of our you know, fueling our own bodies with the right nutrition, exercise, and looking after our mental health, really. And I think that there is much more of an ongoing conversation on that. So interesting to see how travel is adapting.
Very related to that would be another section that Hilton talk about, and they talk about sleep tourism, rest as being the priority. Now,
I love a bit of sleep tourism.
And they've
check me right into that.
And you think tourism, but did you think tourism with 3 Zs? So we have sleep tourism 2.0 is a growing trend in wellness focused travel, according to Hilton. But Mr. Petit said he found that over half the world and 2/3 of Americans sleep better in hotels. I suspect I might be in the 1/3 of that, or the other half of that, because I don't generally sleep better in hotels. But it is really interesting, and there are hotels based in London and the UK that have really focused on sleep, and we're seeing it. Wellness rooms which are really prioritizing the quality of air, air purifiers, aromatherapy, blackout curtains, and ensuring that the color temperatures is right for the time of day, which I love. I'm a complete nerd when it comes to the Kelvin count of color temperature, but I think that is great, and prioritizing that within the guest experience, I think is really, really important. How often do you go and stay in a hotel and there's a light in the wrong place, keeping you awake at night, whether it's a control for the AC, or so many rooms now will have a microwave on the side, and then the light for the microwave is on, or often it's the fire alarm. That was always a big one. You'd see sort of a sock over the fire alarm or something like that. But I think really understanding and putting yourself in the shoes or the bed of the guest, and understanding how important these things are to the customer journey is really, really important. They have a couple of other phrases: new trends in sleep tourism, sleep divorce.
Oh, what's that all about?
37% of travellers prefer separate beds for better rest when travelling.
Interesting, yeah.
Definitely makes sense if people like a different kind of duvet, or some people like sheets and some people like duvets, and
different temperatures. Absolutely.
And I'm sure that not just down to twin traveling as well, because I like so many, like technology as well in guest rooms. Often what people have at home is very different to what is offered when they actually get into hotels.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this is my favorite phrase, and apparently it's been around for a while, but I've never heard of it before. Herkel Dirkling.
Love it.
Do you know what that is, Ash?
No, I don't. Enlighten me.
So Susie Dent, who's the host of Countdown's Dictionary Corner, she describes it as a verb to mean to stay in bed longer than you should.
Oh, now, amazing.
I guess longer than you should is open for interpretation, I guess. But there is now it has been embraced by one in 5 travellers globally, people who will lounge around in bed all day. I did see something on BBC as well that apparently, if you do that once a week, it's incredibly beneficial for your health. Now, I don't know what the studies were on that. I have no further information, but it is an incredible word.
Brilliant, I love it.
It is a Scottish term, Herkel Dirkle. So apparently we're seeing that a little bit more in social media. But I'm looking forward to seeing that more.
It's perfect for those kind of dark January mornings, I think, isn't it?
Well, it's a great time of year. Yeah, a great time of year for that. Nostalgia and family travel, also a big one. I think have we spoken about? I think we did kind of mention this. We've definitely mentioned it in some
nostalgic experiences. I think a lot of it also sparked by, whether it's a series on Netflix, so like Stranger Things as an example, that always like
the 80s vibe
for 80s, exactly. And I think and as our generation are then becoming parents, and it's showing I don't know whether that's like the Disney experience that we might have had as kids. With our families, I think kind of tapping into, as an example, not necessarily hotel related, but we've just, as we do every year, becoming a ritual, taking the kids to the pantomime at our local theatre. And it's something that we would have done every year as a family, and all of the friends in the street would come along, and we would go into Newcastle to watch the pantomime. And again, it's something that we then have kind of evolved, and my parents going, so we've suddenly got 3 generations of the family at this panto, and that's become our kind of family tradition. So I do think your experiences as a young traveller with your family then is often passed down, and it just has that emotional connection, doesn't it, really? I think is the key.
Yeah, and for hoteliers, just sort of thinking about that, really sort of looking at very similar to the sleep patterns, but really understanding how families might want to use rooms as well. I think connecting rooms are great. I always felt terrible having to say, well, you're going to have to book a second room if you have 2 kids, and like if there's as many options as possible
I do find the whole experience of traveling with a family to hotels can be a challenge, and I think sometimes it comes down to the communication of what is available, and just being really clear on your website, or having a fact sheet, or your team are really briefed on exactly what amenities and what room configurations that you have for families, because often that there are provisions made, but perhaps not everyone's been made aware. And I think just when there's that sense of ambiguity as a parent and as the booker of that experience, if it's not clearly communicated and you don't feel confident that it's going to meet your needs as a family, then often you will book somewhere else. And I think, with the growing prevalence of Airbnb as well, I mean, that is providing such hot competition for hotels, because, often if you're able to sell a whole kind of unit, whether that's a lodge or a villa or a house, actually having the ability to have a lounge and put the kids to bed, and you then have an evening.
A small little room in an Airbnb that has a double bed or triple bed, or bunk beds or something like that. Just to make it very easy. The kids don't really get a huge kick out of staying in hotel rooms unless they're indulging in movies on the telly, and room service,
the big
and
telly,
like
and it is a novelty. But I do think that there's still some work to be done around offering families genuinely helpful, sort of room layouts and experiences, and just making that as easy as possible. But I mean, there's some great examples of hotels that are doing it really well, and
often what they've done is they've used the resources they have in-house, which is people with families. And they've got them involved and got them to test things out and give their feedback. You don't necessarily need to reinvent the wheel, but if you really just to sort of listen to the voices you have in the own business, then there's a great opportunity to utilise that, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we'll talk a little bit more about technology. We often talk
always
about
comes
technology.
Back to tech.
Always mentions tech. But we're talking about balancing convenience and connection. Hilton emphasised that the high-tech solutions that simplify travel while allowing guests to disconnect when needed. And I think that is sort of talking about, letting the technology do the work sort of silently in the background and really efficiently, and actually making ensuring that people can concentrate on the experiences that they're actually there for. Tech isn't necessarily there to wow and impress people anymore, because the tech is amazing at home as well. But if it can really complement the experience, it's going to be really, really helpful. But really offering guests the opportunity to really disconnect from them as well, I think is important. Whether that's no phones in the bar, no phones in the lounge, or phone free zones, let's say. Spaces digital free.
It's a great idea.
Spaces, I think whatever that might be. I think it is. There's a lot of opportunity there, because similar to what was happening, we have this discussion quite regularly now with phones and smartphone free childhoods and things like that. And it's sort of an area that's really growing really quickly, and the concern of the impact of smartphones and technology on kids' development. I think people are a little bit more aware of how addicted they are to their own technologies as well. So offering options, I think, and flexibility in those situations, and understand what it is that customers and guests are looking for.
Yeah, I think interesting, even just in our local cafes here at the coast, they do zoning really well. So, you're very welcome to go and work, and that can be your sort of hot desk for the day, buy a couple of coffees, but actually there's a dedicated area for you and your laptop to sit. So then, people who are there to socialise and actually see people face to face can feel that that's, a separate area for them, because, the two can feel a little bit in conflict sometimes. And also, I think it's really interesting when we look at hospitality from a nighttime hospitality, that a lot of nightclubs, I think there's one in particular in Manchester, are saying they're going to ban phones or give guests to the nightclub a sticker to put over the camera on their phone, so they
Yes.
can actually be present and just enjoy the music. Because, you know, when you think about the joy of going to a nightclub, and I don't know how many years it's been since I've been, but
luckily there's no photos.
Exactly. But, you know, to be in that moment and to have, you know, this amazing DJ playing music, or a musician playing, you know, and feel connected and engaged, and they need to feed off your you know, your responses as well, but all they're seeing is a sea of phones. I mean, I can only imagine, like, that must be so difficult to perform in that situation.
Well, I think you're so right in saying that we want to encourage people to have a phone-free zone, but we don't want to tell people they can't.
No, and I think
so
that's
I think
where
saying
the balance
that,
is.
that this is the area where you can. Kind of insinuates that this is the area we'd prefer you not to. And a great example I saw of that recently was where a restaurant, just on the signage as people go out, which could be visible for people walking in, there was just a sign saying thank you for not using your phone and enjoying the experience in the restaurant. So people walking in would have seen that sign, if they're paying any attention and not stuck in their phone. They may have seen that sign, and that would discourage them from using phones in the space, rather than saying you cannot use your phone in this restaurant.
And it's really, I know a lot of discussion around, I suppose, the double-edged sword, as it were, in that, yes, you know, you want to encourage your diners to be present and to be there to socialise and things like that, but I suppose from a marketing perspective, then, you know, people who are in your restaurant taking photos of their food, sharing it online, is all helping you with your PR and marketing efforts. So, you know, but equally, you want people to really connect with the experience. That helps you build loyalty. You know, they'll go away and tell a number of people about it. So yeah, it's a real fine balancing act, I think, isn't it? But it's just, again, that awareness around the phone etiquette, I think, and just, yeah, as you say, being creative in your recommendations for perhaps where and where not to use it, and communicating that in a really positive way.
Yeah. And another little section that they were talking about with Hilton is the rise of the me-mooner.
I love all of these names.
And it sounds like someone's showing off their bottom for their me-mooner, but no, it's talking about solo travel. With solo travel becoming more popular, nearly 50% of global travelers often traveling alone. I guess a section of that will be sort of corporate travel. But it is, so a quote from Jess Petit, solo travelers are top of mind when we're thinking of designing dining and social spaces, incorporating elements like odd-numbered bar stools and solo-friendly seating arrangements.
Oh, that's great. I think it's really great to really engineer your amenities and services and spaces around the solo traveller, because, yeah, you know, it can feel a little bit, you know, that you're almost a little bit excluded. And, you know, I've done quite a lot of solo travel as you have. And yeah, sometimes, you know, without that social space that you can feel comfortable, maybe just picking up a conversation, or just sitting and having a glass of wine on your own, but just that you feel welcomed and part of the experience. A
lot of the hotels I worked at would really treat people very, very well if they were dining by themselves, because there was a good chance they could be an inspector of some sort.
Oh, right.
So that was
always a flag on their reservation.
So therefore, whenever I'm on my own, I do try and play up to that little bit, sort of like look a little bit, use people's names and that kind of thing. Make it very clear that I'm making a note of everything.
A potential
sometimes
inspector.
I get dealt with incredibly well.
I'm sure.
But there is something great about traveling by yourself, because there's no oh, shall we do dessert? Oh, shall we split dessert? Or there's no compromise needed. No compromise.
Yeah.
It's just you do whatever you want. If you want to go out, go to the cinema beforehand and then eat afterwards. You don't have to kind of what do you think of this? You really can do anything, and that's a great kind of
I really like this. It's interesting.
Well.
So Hilton, have, you know, clearly. And I love their label for it. And yeah, interesting to see a few of the other global brands on this as well. So IHG did Nomo, which is Night on My Own package. And, you know, very similarly identifying this sort of key area and sort of relatively untapped market. And, you know, with great success. And I think, you know, live in a very busy world, and actually to take yourself out of that and just to have that, time to reset, and whether you're traveling for business or for leisure time, then it's great that hotels are providing that time. Like many moons ago, I travelled around New Zealand completely on my own, but I wasn't on my own for long because I met loads of people, and you share stories and you give each other tips of where to go, where you've really enjoyed, and you kind of can build your whole travel itinerary based on people's personal recommendations.
How powerful are those recommendations?
Incredible. And you're there, and you kind of just different sort of chapter of my life, but it was really from feeling a little bit sort of intimidated on off to a country I've not been to on my own, but actually it was so accessible and so friendly, but there's something really nice about traveling on your own and just sparking up a conversation with a stranger, and you never know how what 7 degrees of separation type thing, and you always come away with such really valuable insights, or just it's really nice to have that sort of personal connection with other travellers, I think, as well, which I think you do a lot more of as a solo traveller. Obviously when you're with your family or with a significant other, then you kind of just keep yourself to yourself to the most part anyway. So I think it's great and brilliant to see hotels really adapting to that and offering something really valuable here with that.
Another area, these are some great phrases coming in. We've heard of the leisure travel trend. So there's the sort of the leisure trip that's bookended maybe by some business trip. Now I always worry what HMRC's view on that will be. Wholly exclusive for business travel is a bit of a challenge when it's a leisure trip. But another phrase that they've come out, and this is the first time I've seen this one, Frolleagues. I think that's the right. Yes. I think it's the right pronunciation, isn't it?
Frolleagues.
So friends and colleagues. So
Brilliant.
Friends that have become colleagues who have become friends, I guess, is probably more likely than friends who have become colleagues. But both are possible. 1 in 3 travellers planning to combine leisure trips with work trips in 2025. That's one. But Have you a few colleagues that have become close friends?
Absolutely.
Would you call them Frolleagues? Have you ever called them Frolleagues?
I've not called them a Frolleague before yet, but I think when you work in the hospitality and travel industry, and we've worked in it since been for all of our careers, it's such a sociable industry, and you are spending so much time with your colleagues, and often I think in your early stage of your career you're often working quite unsociable hours, so your friends that don't work in the industry, you maybe don't see as much of them because actually they're on a totally different kind of time schedule to you. So
and those friends are like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that?
Why are you ringing me to go out? It's 11 o'clock. I've just finished work.
11 o'clock.
Trying to go straight to a nightclub.
Straight to the nightclub. I'll play catch up. I think we both have quite a few of those Frolleagues, and they're probably even more friends than Frolleagues now. They went from colleagues to Frolleagues to friends, but they understand travel as well in a slightly different way, and we're all, everyone loves getting sort of mates rates in hotels when you work in the industry. There are those sort of opportunities when traveling as well, but I think there's an adventurous spirit within people who work in travel, and they probably have more opportunities to kind of go on short breaks, and they're more exposed maybe to the opportunities that are there as well, and it's a fun. We have a little bit less of it now, but it's some fun years there of travel.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm just wondering if I could create a friends that were clients. A few of those as well. Clients that become friends. Who also like to travel and do lots of leisure trips.
Amazing. We're gonna talk about a few different sort of trends articles that we've sort of read so far. They've probably been published over the last couple of months, but we're gonna wrap up this episode for now, and we'll come back with some more episodes next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to The Halo Effect, Hospitality Stories with Ashleigh and Michael Donald. We hope today's episode has offered some insights and encouragement to anyone navigating the world of hospitality or entrepreneurship. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question, want to suggest a topic, or interested in just joining us as a guest, you'll find our contact details in the show notes. Don't forget to follow, like, or subscribe to The Halo Effect on your favourite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. Until next time, thank you, and we can't wait to welcome you back for more stories and inspiration.